The 1980s was awash with hot hatchbacks. The Volkswagen Golf GTi, the Peugeot 205 GTi, the Ford Escort RS Turbo. Frankly, the list goes on and on and on. Today, on this very cold day, I'm joined by the Vauxhall Astra GTE. But what is it like? Well, let's jump in and find out. Actually, before I get in, let me talk about the design. Finished in glacier white with the matching alloys, the GTE offers a sporty look, but it's not in your face. The GTE also gets a double exhaust, an obligatory rear spoiler, plenty of GTE branding, and inside you have sport seats with chunky side bolstering to keep you firmly in place for those more spirited drives. Now, one more thing before I get going. Those eagle-eyed viewers amongst you may have noticed that this car is in fact a H-Reg, meaning this car is actually from 1990 and not the 1980s as I suggested a few moments ago. Well, the Mk2 GTE was first made in the 80s, therefore this car is a later model, so keyboard warriors, stand down, stand down. Right, it's about time I get to driving. Now, I do apologise in advance because the driving isn't exactly quite as dynamic as this car deserves, but this video was shot in Luton, which is quite a built-up area, therefore I was quite restricted. Right, and away we go. What, do you not like my Christmas jumper? It is Christmas jumper day after all. Right. Oh my word, is it cold today. Oh, ooh. So this is a quick drive. I've only got this car for a short amount of time, but hopefully it'll be short and sweet. Pretty sure it's not meant to do that. Now, when the GTE was first released, it only had around 115 brake horsepower, and quite quickly there were complaints about its performance. So it was uprated to around 125 brake horsepower, there or thereabouts, but the car I'm driving is the 16 valve model, meaning I've got more performance. So underneath the bonnet we have a naturally aspirated 2-litre petrol engine, which kicks out 148 brake horsepower with 145 pound-feet of torque. This power is mated to the front wheels via a 5-speed manual gearbox, and even though this car is quite old now, it still offers a good amount of performance. This car will hit 62 miles per hour in 8 seconds, which even by today's standards isn't too bad, and you'll continue to a top speed of 134 miles per hour. So this car is no slouch. You can tell this is an 80s car by the dashboard because it's all digital, and yes, it simply stinks of the 1980s, but it's so retro, it looks fantastic. It looks like a display from an old video game. I really like that. It definitely gives this car a bit of character. As well as the wonderfully retro digital dash, the GTE was also able to boast features such as central locking, electric windows, power steering and sunroof. So when it was new, this car would have cost you £7,344. In case you're wondering, in today's money, that would have been around £15,900. So it's pretty good value, which is what cars like this should be all about. Now, I know this is a hot hatch, but even so, because this car is in its older years, shall we say, I was surprised by how nippy it is. It's really peppy, it's got a good amount of pickup, and even if you were to compare this to a hot hatch from today, it's not really down on power that much. So yes, this car is rather sprightly. It's quite good fun, to be fair, even when you're stuck in traffic around Luton. Yeah. Now, of course, this car has been stiffened up to give it better handling, but when you're driving around town, it's actually quite compliant. Yes, there is a firm edge when you go over speed humps and potholes, but it's quite a comfy car. You've got these retro sport seats which have got a very time period kind of design to them, and these seats are really comfortable. I've got no complaints whatsoever. Let's talk about the 5-speed manual gearbox. The changes are okay. They are little bit long, as you would expect from a car of this generation. But I have to say, this car's done around 37,000 miles, and it still feels tight as a drum. This is more like it. A nice windy B road, although even here I've got traffic, which is kind of annoying, but at least I can exploit the car's performance and handling a little bit more. The steering is quite vague. I haven't got a great sense of what's going on up at the front axle. Well, not the initial turn-in at least. Once you put a little bit more lock on, you do get a little bit more communication, but it's still not at an all-time high. However, there is a good amount of grip. The body lean isn't too bad. But I'm sure you want to know, is it fun? Yes, it is. Even on a cold winter's day on the outskirts of Luton, this is still able to bring a smile to your face. And that's what these kind of cars are all about. They're made for fun, driving sensation, and to make you happy. And this car, so far, is achieving that. The pedals have got a nice weight to them. The spacing is pretty good. The brakes are pretty good. They're not super bitey, but let's not forget the age of this car. However, they work well enough. At no point do I feel like I'm going to be in danger. And I'll tell you what, this car feels super nimble as well. It must only weigh around 1,000 kilograms, therefore it's far from a heifer lump.
The Astra may be light, but it doesn't quite have the playfulness that the 205 GTi's chassis is able to offer, but it does mean it's a more manageable car when you push it, and it's less likely to rob you of your ego and your no claims bonus. There is a little bit of torque steer to contend with, but at no point on my short drive did I find it to be remotely alarming. Now, some of you may be surprised to hear that I think this car's got good grip, because other reviewers have stated that the GTE doesn't have a lot of grip, but on my short drive I faced no concerns in regards to this area, and I found it to be pretty decent.
I'll tell you what I like, these seats are really supportive. I simply love the side bolstering because they keep you in place really well. I have to say, I wasn't expecting this car to be this punchy.
It may offer potent performance, but as it's still a hatchback, you still get a decent sized boot and room for passengers in the rear, meaning you could easily drive this car daily if you really wanted. However, you'd want to look after this, as there are only 101 16-valve models left on UK roads, according to How Many Left.
This car, it can bring a smile to your face, and that's what these kind of cars are all about. Hot hatches should make you happy, and the Astra GTE does that. And I'm sorry, I don't think I could ever get bored of looking at this dashboard at this speedo, because it is beautifully retro.
In case you were wondering how much this car would cost you on the used market, I had a quick look at the classifieds, and the going rate seems to be around 10 grand, although I did see one on Auto Trader for a more significant £22,500. Ooh, and that's not even for the 16-valve version either, that was for the 8-valve model.
So my time with the Astra GTE is pretty much over. And it's a shame, really. I could drive this car all day. I've really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would as well, which is pretty high praise for Vauxhall, because I did have quite high expectations of this car. So yes, there we have it, the Vauxhall Astra GTE. It may be a little bit long in the tooth, but it's a classic and it still offers a great amount of fun even in 2018. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If so, give it a massive thumbs up. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click that bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. And if you aren't subscribed, guys, what are you waiting for? Be sure to subscribe for more car obsession.